Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining me. No problem, Eileen. You were muted, so we're just chatting it up, and I ran out of time. I had to get your sound going, so I looked down and I was like, "Oh my gosh, your sound isn't coming through the Yeti."
I'm like, oh no, I just spoke through the intro.
No, I had you covered.
Awesome. Hey guys, we missed you last week. Go ahead, tell everybody where we were last week. We were here for an hour trying to get on.
That's right. And we were actually on the phone talking because we couldn't get the audio through the computer to work right.
No.
Over and over and over again. And I went into some of my settings and they had been changed. So I was like, okay, somebody either remotely accessed my computer. I got a virus that changed the settings, or somebody in my house came, one of my kids hacked me or something, right? So that was sort of my options, and I was like, this is interesting, you know what I mean? Because I know I didn't go in the settings and change anything, and it was like, stuff was like really jacked up, you know, and I was like, and you know, normally if something
tried to
buggy,
fix it for an hour,
whole hour. Yeah, and normally something like that, if the audio goes out, I'll restart it, it'll be fine. It's like maybe sometimes it just glitches or gets a bug or something and goes out. So I did that multiple times.
Multiple times in an hour.
So anyway, I ended up deciding I'll do a restore point. You know, this is serious, you know, and I was like, I hope this fixes it, because I changed the settings back and there was still more messed up. I couldn't find, you know. So I went to look at, see how long ago a restore point was, and it said the day before it had gotten a Windows update, and that had to have been what messed it up, because as soon as I did a restore point to the previous day, which took like 2 hours, so even if I went straight to that, it took so long to do.
Wow.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Wow. So what are you going to do? Are you going to like just let them re-update the computer automatically again, or not?
I'm going to go ahead, once I get through with this show tonight, I'll probably go ahead and try the update, because I don't have a show tomorrow, you know, and see if it just glitched during the last time, because it could have just not installed right or something. Who knows?
Okay.
You know? Or it could be that it was buggy and maybe they fixed it since last week because other people had the problem.
Yeah,
so
you've
sometimes
had a whole
just
week
waiting.
to sort it out.
Yeah, sometimes just waiting will work the issue out, because other people, you know, won't figure it out and they'll just get on the message boards and stuff. I got lazy and just went. I went back in time, and for now. So.
Oh my gosh! Well, at least you're not going to be doing anything tomorrow that it can throw you off the stream. But I will announce, if you're around tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am going to do a little short Psychic Sunday where I am going to be testing people live on their psychic abilities, and we're going to practice getting more psychic.
Awesome. Yeah.
Really
Was
silly
that last
stuff.
Sunday when I hopped into your live stream?
Yeah, last Sunday. I miss going on with you and connecting with everybody. So on Sunday, I'm like, I'm going to pull a Joe Say, and I'm just going to go live and start talking to people. I had no topic, and I just sat down, and like 40 people jumped in. So I was like, wow, we got a real show here, guys. So I taught everybody how to do sigils of their names.
Very cool. Yeah, I hopped in. Sunday's like family day, so we were running around, but I got a notification. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're live. So I was driving and chatting a little bit, you know, but it ended up I had to help carry some stuff. So I went away for a while and then came back, and it was getting close to the end. But you went for a while. Did you start a new one?
I did an hour, and I was so surprised to see you, because I know Sunday is family day. So when you popped in, I was like, oh my God, Shane's in here, you know, and I was like, you know, because I know you do. You gotta have that family time, you know, where everything's off. But I often am driving and listening to you and Michelle, and I'm off usually sleeping, having a nap, and then I listen to you and Sherry when you do nighttime stuff, like at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning or the next morning with coffee. Right. So I'm the same way. Sometimes I just have to catch it on the rebound.
Yeah.
But this is just too much fun. So I'm really bored with my produced videos. And that's what I told everybody on Sunday. I said, I'm really bored producing videos because it's always me talking about cool stuff and then putting pictures on, right? And I'm like, you guys know all this stuff. There's nothing in my brain that you guys don't already know. So I'm preaching to the chorus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what else can I do? And I'm like, I know, I'll just surprise everybody and just hit the live button. But of course, it was really hard for me to go live because I don't have your software. And there's the new beta studio, which is really more difficult to operate than the classic. So I kept hitting stream and it kept pretending to make me stream, but I didn't stream. And I'm like, well, how the heck do you stream? Apparently, you have to have streaming software to stream.
On your phone?
On my computer. I did it on my PC because
Oh,
then I
okay,
can
okay.
sit and talk like this. Because with my phone, when I do all my produced videos on my phone, but when I do live, I can't hold it in one place the whole time. My hand gets really tired. When I'm traveling and we do it, I have to find a place to like stack the phone up with books, so it's at one level, and then I have to sit on something kind of funky so that I kind of get into the picture of the phone. But I figured it out on beta because Debbie Hazelton was asking, and I did tell her in a comment how to do it. Hi, Debs, if you're in here. You don't hit streaming if you don't have stream software. You hit webcam. Now, a lot of people aren't going to realize that when you hit webcam, you can go live. Like, they just should put a little word there that says go live. 2 words, go live.
They have the new YouTube studio on the computer that I have to use, and it's a real hassle because now if I go back into my videos, a lot of the shows I can just go and copy and paste the description and change a few things.
Yes.
But now they have a live section and an uploaded section. So I typically it opens on the uploaded section, and then I'm like searching through, and I'm like, oh, I got to switch to the live thing. So it's this extra
How
step.
do you do that?
That's
I couldn't find my uploaded section. So they hid my live video from me for 24 hours because I couldn't find it. I could only find my produced videos.
So right at the top of that section above the videos, it says live stream and upload it. And you just click that and then it loads in it. So I don't know why they separate them. I want all my videos together. I don't need them to separate them because I look back in time. Sometimes I don't know if it premiered, was it live, was it, if I'm just looking for something specific. So
I agree. So beta is really hard to navigate right now. So if you don't have any software to go live, but you want to go live, just open up beta, and hit webcam. And if you hit webcam, you can go live.
Nice to know.
Nice to know.
Yeah, I thought about doing that on my phone last night. I'm like, I can't take calls. It'll just be me sitting in my car because there's no lights on.
Oh, yeah. So what did you do last night?
So the power ended up going out, and it ended up coming back on. But I tried to get a Premiere going, and because it was one I've played before, it said this is a duplicate and you can't play it. So
you're kidding.
So I didn't have the option.
Duplicates. Every now and then, it's nice to repeat something.
Right. So I don't know how much different it needs to be if I'm just able to do like a quick little intro. I didn't have access to do anything like that with the power off anyway.
No.
But it would have been. It would be nice to know if you can just add a new intro. Hey, this is a rebroadcast. Blah blah blah. If that's enough.
And that's what you used to do. When you were traveling, you would just hit us with a really good rebroadcast of like somebody's BQH session. We could hear it a second time.
I think what was different this time is sometimes it'd be a live one the first time around, and then I download it and re-upload it as an upload. So maybe it's separate on the back end too. But it recognized it was one from my library already. It said that you have this already in your library.
Dang it. There you go.
So I was just trying to provide a place for you guys to hang out and just chat.
Yeah, I saw some people chit-chatting with Nancy and Marianne and Rita and Marcy, and they were like, hey, is the Power of One coming back? I'm like, yes, it is. We're going to get back on, Can't stay off forever.
Yeah. Yeah, we're actually on for almost the full time. We just weren't on live because
we were together for an hour trying to figure out how to go live. Can everybody see the plasma ball behind you or just me? Because I always have a different screen.
Nope, they can see it. Actually, they're getting the green screen version of it.
That is so cool. So I'm looking at Shane's Buddha plasma ball. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Can you put your hand on it so people can see what it does?
My daughter got it for me.
It's like the lightning is hitting your hand. That's awesome. I want a plasma ball. I'm going to buy a plasma ball.
I've always wanted one, yeah.
I'm going to go on Amazon and find one. What's the blue thing? Oh, that's like an essential oil steamer.
Yeah.
The blue thing?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I've got my Gail and Gregory Hogue gold dipped sacred geometry tool tonight. And I was thinking we should have them back on.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah, and do a sacred geometry and maybe a discussion of the Tesla numbers, the 369s. How those work.
Yeah, vortex math.
Yeah, I'll just send them a little thing and say, hey guys, come on, got to come back on and do some sacred geometry with us. So what else? I sent you a cool video, and because I couldn't play it live last week, I went ahead and uploaded it with music behind it. And it is the coolest orb right here, right where my hand is. Wah, wah, wah. This is what it did right here. And it's always, the orbs are always in our place where we do our Saturday Night Live meditation for earth healing. And it's always by that like 200-year-old antique dresser behind me. And like all my family's on there, alive and dead, and rocks and things. Okay, cool. So if you want to hit play, and can you back it up a few seconds? Because it goes super fast. This is real time. We can talk over it. There it is. Can you guys see that okay? That's 25% speed. See where it turned into a slinky?
Yeah.
Go slinky again. Slinky. It's going to come back. Look at that slinky orb.
That's cool.
Do you like that? This is 10% speed, so it's super slow.
Almost seems sparkly.
And pure white. Little blue, bluey white. Okay, so if you let it play. Oh no, this is the super duper slow. Okay, 10%. I see that as 1. Do you see it as 1 instead of like 2 dancing together?
Right. It looks like it's multiple, but it looks like more like a worm or something, you know, like a trail of them, like a train of them.
Exactly, which reminds me of, do you remember the ghost pictures I brought back from the Stanley Hotel were always in the shape of worms.
Right.
They're called photonic worms. They're photonic light. And what makes the worm effect is that it's moving so fast that you can see what the trail of light as it moves, which leaves a worm-like effect of plasma in the camera. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
See, that looks like 2 connected, but then it'll suddenly go into 3.
Right. Some of them look pretty colorful too.
What does that remind you of? That reminds, not this one, the last one. They look like the Asceti orbs. Do you remember all the orbs we got? You, us, everybody. They were pure white, and they were big, and they were thick and milky. Now look at that.
Is that part of it?
That's the last shot before it left, and it looks like 100 circles, doesn't it?
Yeah, like a cluster of them.
And somebody said it looks like a fetus.
They're multiplying.
Yeah, they're multiplying. Oh my God. Okay, so this is just, excuse the puppy pads, but they're clean. This is just normal orbs. These are the everyday normal orbs that I can get in this spot, and they look nothing like the white slinky orb.
That's orbs there?
I think so, yeah. But look at that. Look at that.
Oh, wow, right there.
They're circles. They're see-through. They're rarely doubles and triples, except for that one. That one looks like a white one. They only move straight. They rarely fly and dance in front of you. They just kind of like zoom out in front of you. This one dances and flutters around like a butterfly. So that orb, the white one, looks nothing like these. There's that rainbow one that you liked.
Yeah.
So can you just go to the beginning and we'll just watch the dancing orb one more time in real time?
Yeah.
There it goes.
Ooh, I love that one spot there where it like glistens almost. You know.
Yeah. And then it'll come back.
It's really cool how it like shot up there at the end.
Yeah. And then it's gone. I like that one where it goes into like an S.
Yeah.
So orbs rarely dance for me like that. They usually just shoot across the room. This feels more like a spirit than an elemental.
Mm-hmm. Was anything going on right before that? Any music playing?
Yes. I mean, it feels like a spirit. It came through the door, which is where it shoots from, is from the front door. And that's this wall that it's in front of is to the outside. It's not to another room.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter and her friend Kelsey sat down at the table, and Kelsey said, "How do you get those orb videos?" And I said, "Let me show you." And I took my phone and I put the flash on permanent. And we were sitting right here where I am now, but slightly facing a different direction. And I hit record.
That's very three-dimensional there, isn't it? Sorry to
Isn't
interrupt
it?
you, but
That's my favorite photo is the S, that one.
whoops.
Look at that line in the middle that's super bright.
See how it's like behind it, and then this is like in the foreground coming up,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
this does the same thing almost here with this coming out from behind it. So it almost looks like it's coming out towards you and curling back behind it. That's so cool.
It's so unusual for an orb. It's more of a spirit, like a ghost, like the ghost cam. Remember when we did ghost cam?
Yeah.
But it was in the size, it was in like a giant blob of a Tic Tac.
Maybe it's like an ethereal. Well, maybe it's an ethereal cheetah. Is that what those things are? Cheetah?
An ethereal Cheeto.
Yeah, ethereal Cheeto.
Look at all the circles. I can see like 100 circles in that image.
Yeah, you can see them all. That's what's making it look so 3D. Is it looks like almost ribbed or something? You know, like a
I see it. Yeah.
like a worm or something.
So I just put this on, and I went, "Hello, Orby Orbies. Hello, orbs. Come out, wherever you are." And the three of us started laughing, and I got a few of the fast orbs fly by. And then I said, "They really like it when you sing to them." So my daughter's friend Kelsey and I started singing Over the Rainbow. And as soon as we got to the first verse, this beautiful white thing flew in from the door and danced in front of our camera, and we could see it as it was recording. We could see the white dance,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could tell you were trying to follow it.
I was trying to follow it, but it was so fast I couldn't follow it. It kept zipping out of my view. And then I just held the camera steady because I'm like, I cannot follow this thing. It's too fast.
Right.
But it does look different than an orb, don't you think? Like a normal standard, my normal orbs. It doesn't look like my normal orbs.
No, definitely not.
There's
like
a normal orb. See?
Yeah.
See, the normal orbs are just...
Is this where the rainbow one was during this part?
Yeah, but it seems a bit jerky. Is it playing the whole video, or is it just playing part of it? What speed is it on?
It's at regular speed on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So those are regular ones. They're not as white. They're not as bright. You can see through them. You can't see through the one I'm talking about.
It's about to come.
They're less bright, for sure.
There it is, right here. Which one is it that you can't see through that you were talking about? Did we jump over it?
Yeah, just the first one. Just the slinky orb. You can't really see through it like all my little orbs.
Oh, right,
It's more opaque. There you go. Yeah. It's less see-through.
Yeah, you can actually see how the circles, like, it's, like they're different thicknesses. That's what actually gives it a 3D look, too.
And the center of it is opaque instead of, like there. That's very opaque.
Yeah.
Can't really see through those two.
Yeah. Yep, because you can see here on the edge and here on the edge, but not in the middle.
And I don't have orbs like that. Most of my orbs are see-through orbs, and they're a single circle. They don't go into a slinky or an S shape or a photonic worm. Remember when we used to call them photonic worms?
Yeah.
we got all those ghost images, and those were supposed to be ghost energy, and they were always green. There was always bright green or bright white.
These are like Snow White almost. I mean,
These are snow white or milk white or little bluey white there.
yeah.
That top one, a little bit of blue, purple, white, like indigo white.
Yeah.
Like,
but I love how 3D it is, though. Still, it's very
I know
3D.
it's so dimensional.
Yeah.
So that's what made me think it was a different energy, and it was more of spirit energy.
It's like a fairy wormhole or an orb wormhole.
Yeah,
Maybe that's where they all came out of there.
It feels like something alive though, because it shot in from my front door. It heard us singing, and it came in from the outside, and then it just danced around in front of the camera, and then it went away and came back and danced again. So I don't see orbs doing that very much. They usually fly by me in one direction, or they change direction, but they just fly by.
Let's see. Slinky orb.
That's what I call it. My slinky orb.
Very cool. Let me come back here.
Yeah, that was pretty phenomenal for me, because I get a lot of orbs here, but never like that one.
And they, it's kind of funny because they seem to like laughter, singing.
Yes. It flew in for us singing Over the Rainbow. And we couldn't even remember all the words. So we were laughing and singing Over the Rainbow a cappella. And boom, right through the front door, this massive, beautiful, pure white energy just came in, danced in front of the phone, and we could see it because we were watching it as we were filming, and then danced away. We're like, oh my God, did you see that? Yeah, did you see that? We kept replay. And then, of course, I threw it into my little phone editor so I could play it slowly. I think it looks better in slow-mo. Don't you?
Oh, yeah, you can really, you can see a lot more in slow motion.
How do they flip and move so fast? What are they made of? I know the theory is that what we're lighting up is the plasma energy around them, not necessarily their bodies. Like, their bodies might be interdimensional and unseen, but the energy around them creates a plasma effect, like your ball back there. And when you light up your camera flash, it bounces off the plasma. But that might not be them. That just might be their energy, like our aura,
Right. Sort of the part of them that's bleeding into our dimension or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I got a Mandela effect that.
Ooh, let's have it. Come on.
Okay, so I want you to think about it for a second, because you can't see the chat, right?
I cannot see the chat. Nope.
Okay, I want to give you a second to think about it, because I don't want you to say anything, because this is a weird one. This is one where when you hear it the new way, it just overwrites the old way. So I want to give people a moment to. So just think about it. Okay. So,
and don't say it.
It's the song. It's an Elvis song. Actually, it's been done a lot. I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. Everybody knows the song, right?
I know the song.
Okay, so don't forget. Don't blurt it out, because I know it's hard because you wanted to say it, right? Okay. Like a river flows, something lee to the sea. It's a word there that ends in ly.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so. So what do you guys remember it being? Because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, no way. It's just that, I don't know. So
I got it. Like a
and I was really surprised that
to the sea.
Yeah.
Dee.
Okay.
Some things were meant to be.
Exactly. Okay, what do you remember?
Slowly.
Okay.
Why? Am I Mandela affected or not on this one?
You just brought a third option to the table.
You kidding? I brought in a third. Are you serious?
You actually brought a combination word of the two. Oh my gosh. Nobody remembers it. Oh, wait. Thank you, Luna Rose. Remembers Gently to the Sea.
Gently, like the river flows. Gently to the stream. Nope,
Sounds
not in my world.
To you.
It's wrong for me.
It's surely.
Like the river
Surely.
flows surely to the sea. Now I've got a dual memory. Now I've got slowly and surely.
Slowly and surely.
Are you guys gently and surely?
It looks like the Gentleys are definitely in the minority. We got me, Jody, and
Hey, Jody.
Zazaban.
Hey, Zaza.
Remember
Hey,
Gently?
everybody.
Luna Rose, of course. Everybody else remember Shirley. It is
Wow.
currently Shirley.
You guys all remember Shirley? So I just basically made up my own. I just couldn't come up with a true memory, so I probably just made up slowly in the moment. It just worked in my head with the song. And it does
That's
start with an S and end
Melanie
with an
said
LY.
softly.
Like the river flows softly to the sea. Actually, all those words are better than slowly. Softly, gently, and surely are much more evocative words than slowly.
I
Slowly is kind
thought
of boring.
etymologically, surely, just kind of a
Oh,
neat little play on words. Surely, like the
surely,
shore,
surely,
shoreline, the shoreline. Surely to the sea, to this.
surely to the sea. I have a dual memory of it now. That
Yeah.
happens to me. Like once you tell me what it's changed to or what it was, I'll hold both of them as true. You guys do that too?
Let's see. Gently to the sea. Some things are meant to be. Ah, Laura, you took the download. You did exactly
Lori,
what my daughter did. My daughter was like, gently to the sea, and I'm like, nah, it's surely. She goes, wait, no, surely. That's what it is. Once she heard
you
it, I'm
get the download. So
man,
what
you
were you
gotta
gonna do gently before?
gently, yeah,
Gently.
yeah.
It's not one where he changes the word every verse or every chorus. It's the chorus. It's not the verse.
That's what I thought too.
It's
I
not
think
that,
that
right?
all the time too. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Because
goodness. Kathy, we have another gently. So we got about a half dozen or so gentlies, I
does
think.
anybody have
Really?
Shirley like me? I mean, what was I slowly? No slowlies, just me.
But, slowly, softly, gently to
It's the
me
same one.
has the same feeling to it. Surely just sounds like you're not going to stop it. It's like a done deal.
Yeah, yeah, it's total different meaning.
Right. So, plus the double entendre, surely it's kind of like a
Surely.
little playful.
Well, the Mandela Effect's messing with us a little bit too, because in the movie, build it and they will come, and he will come. Field of
Right.
Dreams. Now in the movie, he says it both ways. So in the beginning
That's
of the
so
movie,
funny.
he's going to say
That's
build it and they will come, meaning
and
the
he will come.
spectators to watch. And in the end,
They
he
will
says
come.
build it and he will come. One or the other. It's one of them.
Okay, so this is what I've been saying since the beginning, right? Is
Yeah.
that because people were saying it was one and it was the other. I'm like, oh, I remembered it both ways because he said he will come in the beginning, and the one man came, right?
Yes. Yes.
His grandfather, his
His
father,
father.
I
His
can't even
father.
remember. It's been
Yeah.
so long, but it
Yeah.
was like one person came, and then he brought his buddies, and then it
And it
was
became
and it was all the line of cars at the end that looked so epic coming through the rural area.
yeah. So both of them are in the movie now.
That's how it
And
was for me
ET.
always, though. That's
Okay.
weird.
Okay. So maybe I don't know. I don't know how that works in the Mandela world.
I don't
Like
know.
if some
I
of us
mean, I'm
can
not
always
doubting
hear
it, but
both.
it's weird that it's matching. It's like I flip back or
It's
something.
like it's back to the way you remember it, whereas other people remembered it one way and other people remembered it the other way. E.T. says it both ways in the movie now. Just get a copy or go online, watch E.T. And sometimes he will say E.T. phone home, and sometimes he will say E.T. Home phone. He says it both ways now in the movie.
Right. See, I think that's how it was when I first went and looked, and I was like, why are people showing just the beginning clip and not playing it out? Because it's like he messed it up and she fixed it, and then he said it right or
He
something
says
like
it back.
that.
He says it both ways. And the third one is the Wizard of Oz. The Scarecrow does carry a gun, but only for one scene when they are storming the witch's castle at the very end of the movie. The whole movie, the Scarecrow's hands are empty. But yes, in the end. And what does the Tin Man have? He has an axe through the whole movie. But during that storming scene, he has a mallet, a metal mallet instead, because they're storming the witch's castle to rescue Dorothy and Toto. So,
What?
yes,
It changed?
It did for me because I don't remember the mallet. The mallet is kind of interesting. It's huge. It's a huge metal mallet, and they're in disguise. They get into disguise of the whoa whoever those guys are. The witches army.
Well, for those that are keeping an eye on at least of what's supposedly going on behind the scenes and everything,
Yes.
I can look at both of these and say, well, what kind of message do I get out of these? And it might not be gentle, it might not be softly, but it's a sure done deal.
It's a sure thing. Oh my gosh, are you going to put that in your let's just talk a little bit about the Mandela Effect conference. Are you going to put that in your conference?
I don't know yet.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
It gives you that that hey, we're going to get through this. We're going to win because we already won. Right. It's as sure as the river meets the sea. That's how sure it is that we've won.
And of course, with the Wizard of Oz, from an axe to a hammer, maybe they're bringing the hammer down, right?
Yeah. A mallet. What do you use a mallet for? It's the same as a hammer.
Boinking.
I don't know.
Kind of like our people with the wrench here. They got the mallets.
So we nothing to do with me. It's been decided that the Mandela Effect conference will be June 15th through 20th, and it'll all be done online through Zoom and on YouTube at the same time, right?
Actually, I think they're planning on starting it on the solstice. Did you not get that email?
Oh God, I haven't checked.
Okay, yeah. So things are
I'm
still.
We're still. Our last meeting.
Yeah, we're still working things out. That's why I'm always hesitant to say anything. It's always so changing and stuff,
So it's not necessarily the 15th through the 20th.
But it's going to be online. So the good thing is it's online, guys. So, you don't have to try to get a plane or anything.
Let's see. When is the solstice? It's always around the 22nd.
The 20th?
22nd or the 23rd, isn't it, for the solstice?
The 20th of June. Actually, that's a Mandela effect for people.
Oh.
So it's
for me because it was always on either the 22nd or the 23rd.
Right, and same way with the winter solstice, of course.
Yes,
but it's a leap year, so I didn't know if that threw it off.
Of course, that might.
But
it's a leap. Yeah, it is a leap year, isn't it?
But we were talking about this in the whole International Mandela Effect conference
meeting.
Or email that's been going around about this very topic, and apparently now it can be anywhere from the 19th to the 21st on the equinoxes, but then it can be 20th and through the 22nd, and something like that. There's a range, but I always thought it was a range though. So for me, it's I don't know. I didn't watch it close enough.
Yeah, I did, and it was always on the 21st, 22nd, or 23rd. So there was a 3-day range, but never on the 19th and the 20th. That just never happened unless those happened on leap years, and I didn't notice because it's every 4 years.
Right.
So it wouldn't feel like it's always that number.
Exactly.
Okay, so scratch the dates, but it's coming up in June. It's at middle to the end of June, and it's going to be on Zoom. If you register, that means people can join in and ask questions and be part of it as a live event. But all the presentations are pre-recorded in the live event, followed by live Q&A or panel discussion. So it's still live.
Right.
And then it'll go on YouTube live at the International Mandela Effect Conference YouTube channel.
Which I want to thank everybody for subscribing. We did hit 1,000 subscribers now.
Cool.
So now we have streaming capabilities.
Oh, good. Can stream. And people can make comments on there and can chat with each other during the live event, but cannot talk to the panel. The panel can only be reached if you're connected for free, right, to Zoom. Is that correct? You have to be in Zoom to be able to interact with the panel.
Right. That's where we are right now. So,
Cool.
I said, I just don't know. It's changed so much.
It's evolving and morphing.
It's happening. It's happening in June. That's really all I can say for sure. To be online, it's happening for sure. And
I just thought I'd promote it. I just thought, get it out there. And some really cool guests. Just talking about Regina Meredith, the keynote speaker this year. It was so cool to get into a Zoom chat room with her and just chat normally, because I've been following her for at least 10 years when she was on Gaia TV before it became Gaiam. So my favorites were George Norrie, David Wilcock, and Regina Meredith. Those were my 3 favorite show hosts.
Well, I think Regina Meredith actually helped found the whole Gaia TV, which the whole Gaiam TV thing is just weird to me. That's a Mandela effect. It's just...
Is it? Because she said it used to be called the Consciousness Network, something like that.
Well, I'm just saying Gaiam to me is brand new, like within the last couple of months. I'm like, why are people saying Gaiam for some reason?
And what does Gaiam mean? Gaia, everybody knows, is an ancient word for earth.
Right. I think...
So what would Gaiam mean? But they definitely changed it for me like 5 or 6 years ago, I think because they sold the company and they had to like have a new company, so they couldn't use Gaia TV anymore, I'm guessing. Because then David Wilcock and Corey Good left. And then I left. Regina Meredith has her own YouTube channel, so I can follow her on YouTube. Like Cynthia Sue Larson is on YouTube. And Lynn
I think is it just a switch from a noun to an adjective or something like that?
Probably, don't you think? Like Gaia is the noun and Gaiam is...
And the adjective.
The adjective.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Earth-like.
Yeah.
Is something that's Gaiam.
Right.
We're guessing, aren't we?
Yeah, we're
But we sound really intelligent while we're guessing.
It was Gaia. Anybody remember Gaia?
I remember
because
Gaia.
When you just said it used to be Gaia and it switched to Gaiam, so it's Gaiam now?
It's Gaiam now, which is really hard for me to spell. I just learned how to spell Gaia, and now with Gaiam, I'm like, where's the A go? Where's the I go? But it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun.
Let me look it up real quick, because I think...
You're looking up Gaiam TV? It was really cheap. It was only $10 a month to subscribe to, and they had a lot of programs for that.
Still Gaia.com.
Are you serious?
Still Gaia on their logo. Yeah, it's Gaia.
No, it's still Gaiam. Isn't it Gaiam TV? Someone please tell me it's still Gaiam.
No, I'm looking at the website. It's Gaia. Gaia. Gaia TV. Gaia.com. So when I heard of Gaiam, I thought, oh, well, maybe it used to be Gaiam in the past. I've never seen Gaiam. I've only heard people say it, and I'm like, why are people saying Gaiam?
So basically, are you telling me that it went from Gaiam to Gaia? It did. Instead of me thinking it went from Gaia to Gaiam, it went the opposite way, right? It went from Gaiam TV to Gaia TV.
Ugh, I wish I knew.
That's my only explanation, guys.
For me, it was just always Gaia, and recently, last few months, people, maybe this year or something, you know, I've heard people say Gaiam.
That must have been like 10 years ago. It was Gaiam.
Okay, yeah, I could have definitely not heard about it back then.
But, you know, with our memories not being 100% because we're human and people changing things and the Mandela effect, you've got changes coming from 3 directions now. So there's no way I'm ever going to say that I'm ever certain about anything, basically. It's just wiped my certainty away. And I don't care. I'm happy to live that way. I'm okay with going, I'm not really sure, but that's how I remember it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you just never know. The stuff getting so shifty. It's been really shifty lately.
And then like my Mandela effects might be different to yours, and yet we share many. So I'm like, well, why don't we share them all? You know, if we share 75% of the same Mandela effects, yet I have 25% that are just mine, that nobody else relates to, or few.
Right.
Yeah.
And that one was almost like that. Other than some of y'all chiming in with the gently thing.
I don't remember gently.
I put it in quotation marks, and I found lyrics to one song from somebody I hadn't even heard of before that covered it, and it's in their lyrics the right way. But
okay, I've got a Mandela effect question for you guys in the chat, and then Shane can pull it up with you can Google images. Does Dorothy's ruby slippers in The Wizard of Oz have bows on them or not? So how many in the chat say there's bows on those ruby slippers, and how many in the chat say no bows? Just like a slip-on pump with a little bit of heel, tiny heel, remember? Like, what is that? 2 inches? So what are we getting? We getting bows or not bows? Because it is a reported Mandela effect now.
I saw them, and I thought the bows looked like they were the wrong color recently.
Okay. That's what the Mandela Effect reported is that the bows have appeared out of somewhere. Do you want to
So
bring
I
up a
thought,
picture of them?
so I thought they changed color. It could have been that they looked funny because they just appeared there too. You know what I'm saying?
So the bows
I
looked
just
odd to you, but not
To
entirely
me,
new.
it seemed like when I looked, they were black, but I remembered them matching perfectly, or something like that.
Because I've seen two pictures of them now. I've seen, you know, that the red shoe is made out of red sequins. It's a shoe with red sequins all over it,
Right.
and they're not really crystals; they're sequins. And I've seen bows that are 100% red, and I've seen bows that are red with a white sequin outline. Do you want to go ahead and just like search images ruby slippers, and you'll see a couple of different versions pop up?
Okay. So yeah, it looks like it. These are the ones I. Let me pull these up so everybody
Are
can
they
see
on the
them.
screen for everybody?
Yeah, let me share so you can look too.
Oh, thank you.
Screen share. Okay, let me make
Okay.
it big for everybody here. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so see how the bows are like the same color? I think they were black the last time I looked, or they just looked really odd. But yeah, it looks like they changed back.
To all red.
I was really expecting them to have the black bow on them and look really odd again. Because I was questioning it, you know. That's how I
But
know
people are
now.
saying the Mandela effect is that there were no bows and there are bows now. But in my mind, I
Like
always
this.
remember the bows. How
Oh,
about in
okay.
the chat? Does everybody remember the bows going back to their
Let's
childhood?
see. Let's see. Bows for Nicola. No bows for JP.
Okay.
Ruth remembers bows. Yep. Sherry remembers bows. Bows all red. Bows all
Okay.
over.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So
The new Mandela effect is for people who do not remember bows. So they're obviously coming from a slightly different timeline.
but look at here.
Which one?
Just somebody's little art. You'd think they would have put bows on it, right? Like,
Oh, you think they put heels on them too?
yeah, that's true.
You know, the ruby slippers have a really interesting history because they went missing. They got stolen
Right.
out of the Judy Garland Museum, which is her home where she grew up. I can't remember where she's from. Minnesota? Does that
Here's
sound
one
right,
without.
guys? Huh?
Here's one without.
Yep. And they didn't have a strap either.
Oh, okay.
So those ones up there that are really low with the bows look the most original to me.
Like these here.
Um, yes. Those probably are. Those look like they're the ones from the museum. Look, that's the museum ones.
Yeah, they need to clean them up a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're kind of, and the bows are super small.
yeah.
So they kind of blend in to the shoe a little bit.
Right.
But those shoes, because she had like three pair, and
Here's a
two of them
shot
are
from
in
the
private
movie.
collectors. Like there, you can barely see. Those are the original ones. Okay, here's another one. Did she have a blue sock on or a white sock on? What do you guys remember? I remember white sock, but now in the movie, because that's a movie still that we're looking at, I think.
Yeah.
They're blue. Look at that. She's got blue socks on to match her dress. That looks really weird to me. Shane, do those socks look weird to you?
Yeah, I'm like looking at them like, wow, that does look pretty weird now that you
It kind of
mention it.
clashes with the red.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, actually, it does clash. You're not supposed to put red and blue together.
Yeah, and it does. It's a cornflower blue. No, that does not look right. The blue socks with the green hands coming at him with the red shoes. Clashy, clashy. I remember white socks.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow,
White seems more right to me.
white seems right. I bet everybody in the
Yeah.
chat's the same with white.
Let's see. White socks, white socks, white socks,
I
white
knew it.
socks.
I knew it.
Blue socks.
Oh, we
I
got a
know this
blue.
changed to blue. Okay, so some people saw it change to blue.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. If you remember blue socks, you're not wrong. I'm just saying in my memory of how I
They were white at
experienced
one
Wizard
point.
of
Yeah.
Oz as a child, they were always white. But I'm with Shane on the theory that these are converging timelines. Now you see those dull ones with the those are original. I wish I could point to them. But the ones that look maroon, those are the original slippers used in the movies because they've deteriorated in color.
Yeah, they have.
Now you can see there's a slight white edge around the bow. Like, okay, where'd that white edge come from?
Yeah, but like I just said, I need to pull up that email to
And I saw
Nathan.
the show on the movies, the documentary. They used to be bright red, but in, well, how many years? 1939. They've deteriorated from bright red to this maroon, burgundy. They're burgundy.
I'm gonna go back and see what I wrote Nathan, because when I noticed that I wrote him a thing, and I'm like, hey, because when he was on doing the shows with me, he was talking about Dorothy's slippers. And I'm like, what was it about her slippers again? Because this black bow, like I remember it being a black bow. So now I got to go see if that's what I typed to him, or if I'm typing. I got to see. It's gonna be weird.
It is. And those are all the original ones with the cream inside, and then they wrote her name
Right.
inside on the edge.
Wow.
And the color has just deteriorated over time.
So much.
Mm-hmm.
So weren't they? They were stolen for a while, I think, or something like that.
We're talking 50, 60, 80 years ago. Yeah, they were stolen by some people, but they were found. I recall them being found in a paint can that was thrown into a local lake. And the way they found them was they got a tip from somebody who said, "Oh yeah, we broke into the museum and we stole them." And then there was such a big, brouhaha after that of trying to find the ruby slippers with a huge reward that they kind of panicked, put them in a sealed empty paint can, and tossed them in the lake. And then an anonymous tipster called them and said, "You'll find them in this lake," and they did.
Hmm.
That's according to like it was like an HBO or Showtime documentary on the theft of the ruby slippers.
I always thought the Wizard of Oz was always in color, was it not? Sherry saying, does anyone remember them saying Dorothy's slippers were silver, but the advent of Technicolor colored them ruby red?
I don't know. That could be true from the past. I'm only going by the documentary that was released in the last few years. They said, "Oh, they were ruby red, but now they're burgundy because they've changed color over time." But yeah, that could be true,
Oh, okay.
Sherry.
Maria is
That could
saying
really
that
be true.
in the book they are silver. Okay.
And the movie itself, I recall it starting in black and white and then quickly switching into color. And when I grew up, I was told that The Wizard of Oz was the first color movie. And then I went to film study course in
Mm-hmm.
high school, and I learned that Gone with the Wind, also done in 1939, was the first movie in full color. And then I read later that both movies, because they're the same year, are considered the first color movies. And then I did a search recently of first color movies. They go back all the way to 1917. They go way, way back. I did a little Mandela Effect video on it 6 months ago saying, hey guys, the whole movie industry is Mandelaed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and like the talkies. Do you guys remember the jazz singer being the first movie talkie? I learned that over and over and over again. And then now, when I research it now, the first movie talkies go back to the 1800s.
Wait, what are movie talkies?
Oh, sound. It's like they used to do silent films and they play the piano and then they'd write words on the
Oh,
screen.
right, right. I remember
So
that. Silent. So there was
when
an in between.
Yeah, so when they, Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin and all those guys, who started the movie industry, United Artists in Chicago, they went to the South Side, big like warehouses, and then they got too cold in the winter because they couldn't afford to heat it, so they moved United Artists to Hollywood, and they created Hollywood because they needed heat. That's a great little piece of trivia, because I'm like from Chicago, so I thought that was kind of cool that the movie industry actually began in Chicago with silent movies with Mary Pickford, the guy that she was romantically involved with, I can't remember his name, and Charlie Chaplin. There were three of them, and So the talkies, they called them talkies if they had sound, because you could talk and hear it, go way, 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 way back. Way before the Jazz Singer. There we go. I love Charlie Chaplin movies. Do you guys remember them? Just so funny. And some of them really sad. Because he's a hobo.
Oh, he is? Yeah, I don't. I mean, I recognize him, but I can't specifically remember any of the.
Oh, I've seen all of his movies, but
I think
not for
I've probably seen more of like spoof movies, or where they parodies, I guess they would call it.
I mean, he did the movie The Great Dictator about Adolf Hitler while Adolf Hitler was alive. Talk about brave, right? And then he got chased out of America, under the McCarthyism. They called him a commie. He's a communism sympathizer, so he had to spend the rest of his life in Switzerland, I think, if I recall correctly.
But did you see Christopher Anatra's video where he was talking about him and Hitler?
Yes, I love the fact that he's hitting on some really interesting Mandela Effect topics that nobody hits on. Like, well, what in a Mandela world where Charlie Chaplin did make these movies, what did his laughter and making fun of Hitler, laughing about Hitler, what effect did that have on people?
Yeah.
And he said that it kind of kept them from going into Great Depressions, right?
Yeah. Okay, so Mandela Effect question for you guys. And you might have already heard this on Christopher Anatra, the quantum businessman. So, do you guys remember when they would talk about the Great Depression and people jumping out of windows because they just couldn't take it anymore? Does anybody remember hearing about that?
I got my hand up.
Okay, guess how many people actually did that in this timeline?
How many?
0.
What?
Yeah, that's what Christopher Anatra said. I didn't look, but he usually does his research really good. So
he does. He triple checks everything.
But that's not to say we go look now and it's there again and it's a flip flop. So you just never know.
Exactly.
How can you be sure of it?
I totally remember that story. Of course, I go, well, then maybe it was urban legend. Maybe the story I was told about people opening up their windows when the stock market crashed and jumping out, maybe that was urban legend. But nowadays, in a Mandela world, you never know. It could have really happened and no longer have happened. Right? Like that whole, didn't he say in that video that like 20,000 Nazis met in New York?
New York, yeah.
What's that big park called? Central Park. Or was it 200,000? What number did he have? It was a huge amount of Nazis, and we're like,
I thought it was 20,000.
It's like, where did that come from? Where did that history go? Did they just not teach us that history? Is it completely Mandela that it didn't happen, but now it did?
I was so rebellious against history, so.
Well, there's also the point that they don't always tell us everything. They tell us what they want us to know so they can get us to do what they want us to do. So sometimes it's Mandela and sometimes it's hidden history. And there's no way to tell the difference between the two anymore. Right?
It's designed that way.
I know. It's designed that way. Oh my God. Drives you crazy. Drives me crazy.
And you know who I think actually designed it that way?
Ooh.
Us.
We did, just to confuse ourselves and keep us on our toes.
I think we did it the other way a billion times. They're like, let's just forget who we are and see how long it takes, even if it takes 1 trillion years to find our way out.
Okay, on that topic.
I think we're at the end of the 1 trillion years, though.
You do? You do?
I feel like we're at harvest time that the Bible speaks of, or that the law of one speaks of. I totally feel like, even like, within meditation, I look at everything happening now, and you can take a step back, and no matter what's happening, even some of the things about the V's and your V's, if you know what I'm talking about, that people are worried about, it's waking people up in droves. They're like, what? You're trying to do what?
Is there something I should be worrying about?
Talking in code here. The V's and your V's.
Oh, my God. Okay, so on that subject, for some strange reason, I just thought the other day, I was waking up And I didn't really like the dream I was having, but I'm always half lucid in the last dream of the night as I'm waking up. I'm like, oh, this is just a dream. This ain't real. I can tell, you know? And I
Yeah.
can always do my test like, can I fly? If I can fly, it's definitely not real. I didn't even bother flying. I'm like, oh, this is so not real. I can tell. And I'm like, oh, what if my higher self is falling asleep now? And my higher self is going into the dream of the lower self on Earth in the year 2020. And I'm like, okay, enjoy your dream, higher self, because I'm waking up and I got to live it now. So I'm like, what if where I am now talking to you guys is the dream that my higher self is having?
And
Prove that it's not. Prove to me that it's not.
At some point, you can see how that's exactly the truth.
I mean, we can't prove it is true, but you sure can't prove to me that it's not true.
Right.
Right? So this lower self living that we talk about ourselves, communicating with our higher selves, right?
Yeah.
Could be the dream while the higher self is sleeping.
Yeah, and with the popularity of movies and the movie industry, Nicola's talking about changes. Like the whole television.
Yeah, television and television.
Yeah. For your programming.
Oh, I saw the coolest video on word etymology, and it is so dry. And I sent it to Nancy, and it is so long. And we're both like, oh my God, that's so hard to watch. But I need to get it and send it to you, because the etymology of what's being told to us in all of our words is crazy. And I mean, I'm talking about like bless means be less. And the priest will stand, because priests used to run the world, probably still do in a
And
different
be
way.
less you.
I'm going to be less you. You will be less than me. And they stand up on a pulpit. They're always above the congregation, But it goes on into like all the words, all the English words ever spoken have got some strange meaning attached to them. It almost makes you not want to speak. Like, I'm just not going to speak in words. I'm not even going to think in words anymore.
But you can come across that whole thing like it's like layer upon layer upon layer. So like of course my logo, you can look and you can say, oh well, that's Illuminati symbolism, but then you can look deeper and you can like, oh, you can find a deeper truth, right? Well, even like with what's the one that they use a lot, believe, right? Or belief. And it's like, right. So if you think about it, the whole fake it till you make it, be the lie. Be the lie.
Be the lie.
Right.
But the lie is in a positive way. You're lying to yourself about becoming better. So be the lie until you are better, which totally makes sense.
Right.
In a positive way.
Because it's not ultimately a lie when you believe it. You'll see it when you believe it.
But
see, it's all hidden right there.
You can't see it until you believe it, because most people go, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. And it's like, no, you don't get to see it until you believe it, because you have to believe it into existence, and then you can see it.
Yeah, the amount I've grown just since I've been with you all, and hearing everyone's experiences. Yeah, Sherry, y'all.
I love
Sherry. It just broadens your consciousness and just what is even possible, So you hear these stories, you're like, oh my gosh, I saw an orb like so and so was talking about or whatever.
Absolutely, and everybody's seeing more orbs and capturing more orbs on film than ever before. So I don't know if maybe we could always see orbs, maybe not. Maybe that's part of a Mandela world. Now we can. Now we get to capture them on our little... Capture sounds terrible. We don't capture them. We just take their image on our little videos, right?
That's funny. That wasn't there superstition like that? People, some culture.
I grew up in the Middle East, and when I was a teenager in the 70s, I could not take pictures of people randomly on the streets, because
steals a little piece of their soul or something, right?
Take a piece of their soul in every picture. So it just was not allowed. I just couldn't do it. I would love to take a lot of pictures of people like in a market, walking down the street, riding donkeys and camels. And boy, if they saw you take their picture and drive by, they would feel like you'd stolen their soul. So the kind thing to do was, as a Westerner living in their country, was not to take pictures of people unless they're in your living room and they're like, okay, yeah, no problem.
Can I have a little piece of your soul? Take a
Can I observe
selfie
your
with
soul,
me.
please? Click.
That's actually kind of
It
funny.
just kind of
Okay,
made us
so
take pictures fast. Like I'd be at the pyramids and there'd be people going by walking and horses and camels and donkeys, and I'd be like, put it away, tuck it somewhere, take it out. Not trying to take pictures of people, just trying to get the image of Giza with activity, but from a distance, so I didn't really harm anybody, right?
just take a little bit of their soul.
Oh God, now I feel bad.
Okay,
Sneaky.
so one of the things I do is like think of things in extremes, right? And so in this instance, to think of this logically, if you went into a crowd with thousands of people snapping photos, could you be depleted of soul at some point if you get your picture taken too many times?
Sure, that's a theory. Right
Yeah.
now, all theories are possible. So yeah, that could happen.
And then
Will
you
it
just
happen? I don't know.
then you
Probably
just
not.
exist in thousands of cameras on people's phones, and
Okay, well,
then
now you're dragging us into the holographic view of the
mm-mm,
universe completely, where we are just little fragments out there, right? So,
right,
yeah, we're just little tiny fragments. And like, if you took a picture, like I take a picture of Shane in a hologram, I can cut it in half. And instead of getting half a Shane and half a Shane, I get Shane and Shane. I get two of you.
right,
And then if
half
I cut
resolution.
Yeah, and if I cut those in half again, I get four of you, which might explain the Mandela effect. That we are literally, Cynthia says this all the time, we are literally operating in so many dimensions and worlds right now that if we could see them all, we would go insane. We'd just go crazy. So we just see one at a time.
Right. Hopefully, some of us are seeing several at a time, and it gets
Well,
kind of hard
that
to.
might be the whole explanation of the Mandela effect is it may not be a change to matter, it may be purely a change of consciousness. That now our consciousness has expanded so far that we can see many, not all, many dimensions of us at the same time.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a real possibility.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't know, just with things shifting so much now, and with so many alternate versions, things could get pretty confusing. You know.
Well, it's only going to get more so. It's only going to go more so rather than less so. Until what? Until we learn how to process more than one dimension at a time. Until our consciousness is comfortable being in multiple dimensions at the same time.
Right. So do you think it has to do with? Because it seems like as when you think of dimensions, and you think of the three primary directions, and then the fourth dimension is time. We're seeing a lot of weird time stuff going on. So
Yeah.
is it because we're moving through the fourth dimension, or is that a whole separate bracket of stuff? Because you hear people from both camps like, "Oh no, no, not those
Yeah.
dimensions. Those aren't the dimensions we're talking about. We're
Yeah.
talking about not the
Different.
directional dimensions in time and all that. We're talking about something entirely different, like the densities you hear about
Yeah,
in
the
the law of
densities
one."
are not dimensions at all. The way Law of One describes them, they're not, because the fourth dimension isn't time. I mean, the fourth
Right,
density is not time
right,
in the Law of One.
right,
So the densities are like the Theosophist's octave, and you go through the 7 notes in an octave. I always thought it had 8 notes, but it doesn't, because the eighth note is the beginning of the next octave. And that's what Law of One densities are. They have nothing to do with dimensions, but we're so comfortable thinking in terms of dimension, aren't we?
yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I'll have to double check it. It's been a long time, a couple of years or whatever. But I think it said Earth was moving into fourth density, and
Yes,
which would supply life to fifth density humans
positive.
as we like right as we transition. So
But I can never remember what happens to fourth density negative, because they have to be like, this is the hiccup with Law of One for me, is that you only have to be 51% good to go into fourth density good, positive. But you have to be 95% bad to go into fourth density bad. So where do all those other fragments of God, souls, who are not 51% positive, they're 45% positive, where do they go?
they
What happens to
flunk.
them? They
Yeah, they have to do it again. They don't graduate. They don't harvest out.
they have to redo a new, what, 26,000 cycle of Earth
No,
lives?
well, I don't know that it's. I know it's at least. It probably just depends on how far they are in their development. So if they were almost there, maybe one more life. But if they had like a lot of learning to do, but it depends on if they're going to try to graduate through the negative or the positive path. Maybe they're not quite bad enough, and it will take another 26,000 years to be 95%.
Interesting. And it definitely says, Law of One definitely says, it's easier to go service to others than it is to go service to self. The people who do service to self really go through hell. It's much harder. It's a much harder journey. That makes sense to me.
And because service to self has a certain disharmony with it, the group of service to selfers,
Yeah.
they're just always at odds. So even though they're these families you hear about,
Yeah.
whatever, it's just.
They might have billions of dollars, but their actual suffering day to day with what they're doing is intense.
But when the heat gets turned up, there's nothing that they won't do to look out for number one. Is what I'm getting at. Where
Yeah.
you know,
But like none of us here would ever put ourselves in that position, because it wouldn't feel natural, but also because it's a really hard position to take. It's very painful to be that evil.
right?
The amount of self-harm done to the person, the body, the spirit, the soul, the heart is incredibly hard to sustain, which is good because the Law of One says eventually they're going to pass through that in a much more difficult way and become service to others. Eventually, by either sixth or seventh density, 100% of souls in those densities are service to others. I know why, too. I figured out that when you start life and you're like, it starts supposedly as a single-celled organism. That's not much of a life. It can't do much. It can't self-sustain very long. It can't experience much of the world. But as soon as that single cell develops into multiple cells, and then the cells start to take on certain roles, like some cells are the heart, some are the brain, some are the muscles, then the organism gets to experience more of its environment. So if you are totally self-service and service to self, there's so much of the world that you cannot experience. That feeling of altruism, true altruism, and sympathy and empathy and compassion is what you're missing. And that's a really, really, really the most important part of the world that we're in, right? They don't even get to experience that and feel that and be a part of that. They're cut off from it through their
But
greed and stuff. Yeah.
what the way that's set up sounds like it's just with the 95% thing in the negative. It seems like that's why almost it seems like the negative is so powerful for being such a small number. Like these are the elite of the elite, right?
Think about it. I never go for those numbers. I'm like, they don't really resonate with me, but I like the material, but I don't like go with the numbers. You
Right.
don't have to like take on a whole of something. You can take on part of something and appreciate it, right?
Right.
Without like the Bible, without believing the whole Bible, you can appreciate parts of it. So those numbers never really meant anything to me. And then I realized that 95% figure to transfer into negative Earth, 100% negative Earth, you have to be 95% negative or self-serving.
I wonder what that's like. Would you
Okay.
like to get a little peek of
No,
fourth density negative, fifth
no, because it
density
would be
negative?
terrible. Imagine it. That equates to what percentage of the mixed positive negative duality is actually that evil on Earth? It's only like 5%. The actual ruling families, and now we're going into the part where we're supposed to be doing hand signals and like making up words for it and not talking about it. The actual shadow government is bigger than the actual hands that are behind it. They're families, and very few people know their names. They're well hidden. The families that rule the world are very low in number. I've heard as low as 10,000.
Wow,
That's low. What's 10,000 out of 7 billion?
that's not much at all.
No, it's not much
Fraction
at
of a
all.
percent. Yeah.
So doesn't that kind of like make sense of the Law of One? strange numbers of you have to be 95% evil to go to fourth density negative.
Yeah.
But you've created a world for you there that you can grow in, right? So if each world that we move into is designed to stretch us so we can grow,
Right.
that's the only kind of environment they can grow in. They can't grow in this environment anymore because they're already at the pinnacle of power. How can they grow when they run everything? They need to go somewhere. And then people go, hell. You can grow in hell if you're that bad, right?
You can grow in hell, go to hell.
Yeah, you can grow in hell. Thanks a lot. I mean, people hate the ruling elite that much. And I'm not talking about all people who have money. We don't hate all people who have money, but they hate them that much for the damage that they do to, you know, children and families and stuff like that. And I'm not talking about this extreme Satanism. I'm talking about putting poisons into food and poisons into grass and poisons everywhere. But if you create your next level, then their actions, they're their own worst enemy. Their actions are creating their next level. And that is not a level I would want to see. That is not going to be a pretty level to go into.
But they'll probably love it. They probably hate ours. So, I mean, everybody's going where they
I
want to
don't
go.
know. It would just be so dark there, and it would be so bad.
But they probably say, it'd just be so bright there. I'd hate that, you know, to our place. So everybody's going where they resonate
like,
with.
how boring. New Earth, yawn, yawn. Everything's fine. You know, you get to express yourself with your given talents. Oh, how boring. No drama.
When you manifest stuff, you don't have to go kill for it. Oh, that's so boring.
So boring. I don't know. I'm so like, our community is so positive. New Earth, ready for it, just ready for it, and we're building it. Right?
Oh man, so many people here don't even understand it as it is. I mean, they're like, "What the heck is going on?" We were both like that. We were like, "Just send a meteor already." Let's just
Oh God, it hurt, you know. But I mean, I don't find it boring. I don't find peace boring. Do you find peace boring? I love peace.
I love peace.
And being in nature and just a nice nature walk. I don't have to be on a roller coaster. I like walking through the woods.
Well, I like some good, clean, healthy, heart rate increasing fun. I mean, I'm not saying that crazy go-karts or even a race car or skydiving. I'd be down for a lot of different things. Probably not mountain climbing.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe you want to jump out of a plane. Maybe they don't have planes there. Maybe you just fly around. You just want to go somewhere and boom, you're there. You open your eyes and you're there.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Whatever, this is interesting. You guys, this has got to be one of the most interesting times in history to be alive.
Yeah.
We are at the cusp of the Mandela Effect, and we are at the cusp of New Earth being created. How can you get more exciting than that? That's like it. That is like, if I had to vote for a time to come back, that is the time I would vote for.
I mean, how many of us feels like we've been sitting in this roller coaster, right? Just sitting there, we're like, when is this thing going to start moving? I mean, of course, it's always moving, but sometimes you feel the stall. You don't feel like anything's getting done because maybe it's all behind the scenes or whatever. And then all of a sudden you feel it starting up and you feel that movement. And everybody's feeling it. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're at, you're feeling the movement.
This is pardon me. This is how I feel now. How about you? Do you feel that now? Do you feel that?
Absolutely.
Because I wasn't sure, having been aware of the shift, which is called the event, since like 1977, 75, and like, how long ago was that compared to now? I wasn't sure it would happen in my lifetime. I wasn't sure that I would actually get to see the shift. And now that this has happened, I'm like, I'm in it. This is it. This is the shift. And I'm in it. And I got to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm like so happy to be here and to actually be able to see it, because I'm like, I'm getting on in years a little bit, approaching 60. And I'm like, well, what if it happens after I leave? And what if I'm not reincarnated quickly enough to actually be old enough to appreciate it when it does come? So I'm very lucky that I actually get to be here now. But this is, this leg of the journey is never a done deal. It always has multiple outcome possibilities.
Yeah.
It always, it always has. I know we get there eventually, and eventually it all works out, and new Earth is born, and everything works out, thank God, because time doesn't exist and it's already happened. But the little legs on the ladder are not always a given. There's still the possibility that it can go left, right, forward, backward, up, or down.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
But I think like that came through in the session. We have our core vibration in this group, and it's not like a bad day will make you miss the bus or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's like it's really not a choice. That's another thing. It's like it sounds like you're like, do you want A or B? You're given a choice. It's more of a what you're vibrating at, what your frequency match.
Yes.
You're just going to go that way. So
Yes.
so
But
it's not
here's the
even
danger. If there is any danger in that, world circumstances are such that every day, all day long, you can gorge yourself on negative information and videos and articles. And that will actually, pardon me, it will lower your vibration and slightly suck you back into the world that you don't necessarily want to be in permanently, that you want to move out of. So it's like we were saying the other week, Shane, you have to know what's going on, look at it, and then you need to get out of it. And you need to change your vibration away from it, not get sucked into the drama of it 24/7, right?
well, they were actually saying that, you know, if you can think about it in like terms of like a bad day or a good day, or, one of us in this community that wants this new earth, this new loving world or whatever, on their worst day, they're still not hateful. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
they're not going to go out and harm anybody.
right. So their core frequency is such that they'll still go with the higher timeline. It's just their experience of the whole thing. It's like you could be enjoying this ride, but instead you're like worrying about stuff and you're letting your vibes drop down. But at this point, it's not like,
I think, though, you have to keep your vibes high to keep birthing new Earth. If new Earth is a higher vibration than dualistic Earth, you got to try to keep your vibes high so that you can bring it through clearer, quicker. Because if you get too sucked into, like we did in the dark night of the soul, where we were just like, oh my God, I'm giving up on Earth, I'm giving up on humans, they're just not nice enough to continue, then I think that can get you another cycle of dualistic Earth living, where you've
right,
got the good and the bad. You've got both in the same place. How interesting is that? We're literally in a place, or we're leaving a place where you have both. You have the good, you have the bad, you have the beautiful, you have the ugly in terms of human behavior,
right.
And I'm not
Maybe
talking
if you're on
about
the
most.
borderline or something, but that's actually,
Yeah,
and I don't know, but that's what they
we're a
said, that it's
borderline.
not like that. It's not like you can have a bad day and go to a negative timeline. And that was sort of
Was that
something
the
that
law
was
one?
actually keeping people in a lower vibe, that they were worrying about that. Like, oh my
Was
gosh,
this
if I
the
have
law of
one
one
negative.
material?
No, this was through the session that I just did the
Oh,
video.
the one with
So
Sherry?
exactly, yeah. So that if you've got your core frequency that you're at, and you have a bad day, it's not like, because a lot of people were worried about that. You have one bad thought, you watch one thing, and it brings your vibes down, and then something happens. It's bringing in that old religious programming that somehow you'll miss the bus and miss the rapture if you
I guess that
stole a
would describe
cookie, and then
us in
if
an
you stole a
awakened state.
cookie and Jesus returned in that very moment, oh, now you got the 7 years of tribulation, the mark of the beast, because you stole a cookie right when Jesus came back,
Right.
and he didn't forgive you for that sin. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I think that would suit us in terms of awakened. But if you are not awakened and the current events start to wake you up, it can get really, really scary. And your fear factor, not us, can go way, way down because they had no clue any of this was going on. And they'd be like, what the heck is going on here? I had no idea. And I think that energetic living of fear can actually attract that kind of environment. Like, I think the law of attraction still applies. So if
hmm
somebody lives in complete fear, I think they're going to create an environment around them that matches that fear.
right, but that doesn't necessarily mean the whole timeline in New Earth. That could just be their day to day experience
Their bubble, their
that
reality
they're
bubble.
resonating at. So it's like they're not gonna miss the the overall bus of ascending, so to speak. I'm just telling you what the information that came through. Because
Gotcha.
I thought just like you that, yeah, if you have like a bad day or you flip out or something, then your vibe would drop. You'll become a frequency match for the negative timeline and then get
If
sucked
you
into
stay
that
there,
one.
yeah. I think
Right, but
if
what
you
I'm trying to,
stay,
I'm just trying to clarify the information there. It was like, it's not like that at all. It's, you have your core frequency and then you can affect your experience by your vibes. But it's not all of a sudden if you're a loving person and you got fearful from maybe a tsunami came, right? And it dropped your vibe down because you're frightened or whatever. You're not going to go to a negative timeline or something like that. That's what, because I thought just like you thought. But that's, I
I
just wanted to
still do.
clarify that,
I
right?
still
But that's,
feel like I feel. I get the clarification from what you got, but it's not personally resonating with me because I still believe in the power of attraction. So I still believe,
well, I'm not negating the power of attraction, but it
but I
was
still
more of
believe
a,
if you're newly awakened and you're completely fearful because you don't know what's going around you, that if you stay in fear, you can attract a reality bubble around you that matches that fear.
mm-hmm,
So I still think our job is to help people move out of fear so that they don't attract a reality bubble that totally supports their fear.
right.
But I see what you mean about
But
ascension
it can
because
be
I guess
a
I don't see it as ascension. I don't see it as ascending and not ascending. I see it as leveling up a ladder that you're always ascending. You're always moving up to a new level. But that if you get stuck in fear, then your reality matches your fear. And if you get stuck in love, your reality then moves into love. So I still think that there's a lot of newbies that are not completely awake or comfortable with this matrix. And they're either going to go down the fear route for a while, or there's got to be some way to move them out of fear into, well, they call it love, but into non fear. And that's a big challenge because when you're newly awakened, it's pretty crazy, right? Like, how about newly awakened Mandela Effect people?
mm-hmm,
They get pretty fearful, especially if they're like strong religious people, like,
yeah.
So
That's actually one of the things that when I was trying to get clarification about 5G. So you can have somebody that's like on the loving core vibration, right? But they're getting caught up in the fear surrounding the 5G, right?
yes,
So that can, even though they're focused on that, their core frequency is one that it's the 5D for them. Or it could be the,
it's love.
the other way
Yep.
around. They could be on the core frequency that's more fearful and say it's 5D, but really they're more of a frequency match for the 5G, you see?
Yeah, I
So,
do. But doesn't that, I totally get what you're saying now, but doesn't that require an ascension, like where it's done now? You've ascended to this level and you're safe because your core frequency is good, no matter how fearful you are, and everybody else is left behind. Isn't that what that kind of a theory envisions, is a big jump, like an actual biblical ascension, as opposed to climbing up that ladder of ascension year by year, life by life, you know, like you can either have one ascension or you could have infinite ascensions.
right. I think it's just constant journey, right?
That's what you think? I do too. Do you think it's
Yeah.
constant journeying, constantly ascending?
Yeah, but just like with the book, you got page after page after page, you're constantly, but then there's chapters and then there's books, and, so sure, there's bigger steps, there's bigger events. This is
Yeah,
a huge one. The Mandela Effect is a huge rung.
huge. And then like
Yeah,
New Earth would be a huge one, but not the end. Not the end be all.
right,
I don't know. It's like I like a bit of Law of One, but I'm not 100% Law of One. I like a
right.
bit of the Theosophist, but I'm not 100% into the Theosophist because they've really educated the ruling elite that are very oppressive. They
Yeah.
come from a strong theosophy background. But
I think you're important. It's important to stay out of fear, but people were actually in fear about that. So that's why I
yeah,
really wanted to point that out, because if you think you're doing everything right, but then all of a sudden you have a negative thought, and then you feel guilty about it for the half day because you had this negative thought, then that's spiraling into something that's actually more destructive than if you would have just let it go to begin with, which is what I was trying to get
yeah,
people
I get you. That totally
ultimately to
makes sense. But
do.
what about people who go into fear and stay into fear permanently because they're so shocked by the Mandela effect or what's going on in the ruling elite classes? Like if they watch Out of the Shadows, remember how everybody's like, this is okay. I want to ask you about this. You know how Out of the Shadows is like a really good documentary, gently, gently, kind of, exposing the truth?
Yeah.
Why has YouTube pulled it down? It's in my suggested feeds constantly. It had 8 million views in 8 days, and it is in my suggested feed constantly, and I've already seen it. So why is that not being taken down? Why is that approved? Because then I go,
That's
that's a
weird. So
little
it's in your
suspicious.
feed. Has anyone else gotten that in your recommended or your feed? Because um, I had to type it in. I had to actually type the whole thing in, like David Wilcox said he had to do too, to
Really?
make it come up. And it wasn't. Actually, somebody sent me a link the other times, like mirrored versions of it. I don't know that I've even seen the original, like
Yeah,
where it was.
I'm getting the original of Out of the Shadows in my suggested feeds, but I've already seen a mirrored version of it that somebody sent to me like via email. So it makes me highly suspicious that YouTube is promoting that one. I'm like, why? Why? Well, how does that serve them telling the truth?
Hmm.
I find it all fascinating. I find it really interesting that they might want that information out now, the truth.
Right, I don't know, because I think David Wilcox said they had dropped some of the censorship, and then after that, a few channels went down. I'm like, I don't know.
A bunch of channels went down, but the channels that went down were connecting 5G to the CV. Those videos, boom, tanked
Right.
completely. Like the best one, if you can still find it, shows the 2012 Olympic ceremony as related to the current affairs.
Hmm.
And it was all there. It was all there in the ceremony.
Wow.
But I realized it when I watched that ceremony live. I was like, this is creepy. But I
Was that
didn't
the
know why.
opening ceremony with all the drummers?
It was no, that one reminds me of CERN with the CERN ceremony with the opening of the tunnel. This one was where they filled the stadium with beds and put sick children in the beds, hundreds of them, and then had nurses dancing around them, and then put up like a cell tower, a 5G tower that's also on British currency. I'm telling you, if you can see this video, it's pretty amazing. But the original was taken down, but Out of the Shadows was not taken down. So I'm like, why? My little thinking cap goes on, and I'm like, everything that really is a truth bomb should be taken down immediately, and then I respect it.
I don't know. I just feel like, it's just sometimes it's hard to keep up with when it explodes that fast, and it only adds credibility if they do pull it down at some point.
Exactly.
If it's
But then
got
they
8
start
million
taking down
views and
fake people. They take them down because they don't look credible anymore, and then they put them back up. Remember that?
yeah,
They have to start taking down their own
right.
pretend fake voices or con op, whatever it is called. Otherwise, they don't fit in. I'll tell you what, David, I got taken down for talking about the 5G CV. So did London Real. Remember that? That
Yeah.
London Real? And that guy's got millions of followers and he's big in the investment. He's been totally banned on all social media platforms because of it.
Nancy's saying she found that ceremony on YouTube earlier, so it's
It's
available
been
again.
it's available mirrored on other people's. I found it today too. Thanks, Nancy. But the original is gone from the original channel who produced it. I want to see if his channel is gone as well. I want to see if not just the video, but there's so many mirrored copies of it out there, you can still see it.
I wouldn't completely. Okay, so Sharon's saying that anything in my live feed I question. I've had people tell me I wouldn't stop popping up in their live feed, so it can be used by Team Dark or Team Light, in my opinion. I think
But
anything's like
I'm
that.
gone now, and so are you. We're never suggested, ever, 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 ever.
Well, that's especially how I know. If somebody's like, you kept popping up, I'm like, oh, well, for sure that was Team Light bringing that to you because
Yeah,
I know
exactly. Because
YouTube's algorithm
no,
didn't. So
exactly. So Team Light is still working behind the scenes,
yeah,
right?
and it's
The
what do
other
you?
one that I questioned because it's still left up is called, it's really good and well done. It's called Fall Cabal. Really good.
Yeah,
Done in
right.
15, like 8 15-minute videos. Thanks, Nancy. I think you sent me that one. People send me awesome links. You sent me one too, didn't you? Did you send me Out of the Shadows? Was that the one?
Yeah,
Yeah. Really awesome. But then because it's still left up and yet they're pulling down David Icke and London Real and this 2012 Olympic ritual, I'm like, shouldn't they be pulling down this other stuff too? But then
I
I
think
watch, go on.
I just feel like you got to see what they're working the hardest with, and it seems like it's that letter and that number they're working the hardest on, and
The letter and the number.
you
And then
know,
I see like
so the
Ron
other stuff
Paul,
is just distractions. It's working in their favor, even if it's true. It's
even
keeping
if
us
it's
away
true.
from the
Gotcha.
towers, maybe.
Gotcha. That
I don't
makes
know.
sense now. That would be a reason why they would leave that other stuff up, even if it's true, because it's a distraction from what they really don't want you seeing now. Ron Paul, Liberty Report, ran for president. The guy's got to be in his 80s, right? He gets away with so much and he never gets taken down. He starts saying things that we've all seen our friends taken down for much less than what he says on a daily basis. And
Right,
I think that just must be respect with the fact that he was a congressman and his son is a congressman, took his seat. He ran for president. I think he gets away with more
right,
than you and I could. Like, we'd be gone. Boom. If we said half the things that Ron Paul was saying.
right. I wonder how many times Trump's like triggered the algorithm
I'm
on
so
Twitter.
confused about Trump. Nancy and I keep talking about this too. Is we don't, I'm sorry for throwing you in here, but that's one of our top topics that we get to discuss. Not sure if Trump's a good guy or a bad guy or just both and neither, which is probably closer to the truth because he's done some really good things like take the Fed, the Federal Reserve, out of the globalist bankers' hands and he put it back in the Treasury. Now, I know it wasn't called the Federal Reserve in 1912, but it was the Treasury Department that printed our money. And then they went and gave it, handed it over to the central global bankers, the Rothschilds in London, where they've been printing our money ever since for 18% interest. Can you imagine paying 18% interest on every dollar when you could print it at home for free? That's just stupid money. That's just money that we're throwing away. We might as well just burn it, right? And the interesting thing about that is the Titanic connection that four of the congressmen, possibly five, went down with the Titanic who were heading home to vote against giving our treasury money making process over to the London bankers. And of course, they all sank on the Titanic, so they didn't have enough votes to stop it. I love that theory. It's just interesting, you know?
That's crazy. Was that from? Is that a Mandela effect for you, or have you already always known about that?
I always knew about it. And then Unirock did it like years ago when he was doing paranormal reporting. He covered the Titanic connection, I think. And I'd read about it. I'd read about it a long time ago. And I was like, that's kind of convenient, you know, to
Right.
sink an unsinkable boat with a bunch of congressmen rushing home to vote on don't give our money making machine over to the London bankers.
Mm.
Just interesting, just fascinating. Also, what was the connection? The assassination of. Okay, I can send you something where I read about this, and so then you can read what I read. I've already sent it to Nancy. It's called The History of the Khazars and the House of Rothschild by Rense, RENSE.com. And it's been up. Again, I got a question. Why do they leave that up? And it says that even President Lincoln was about to issue new money based on like gold or silver before he was assassinated. And then Kennedy put out the silverback $5 bill based on silver. And then he was assassinated. So there seems to be a strong connection between printing your own money based on real things like gold and silver and presidential assassinations or death on the Titanic. It's always revolving the money machine.
Always the money, isn't it?
Follow the money. Follow the money. But I'm going to send that to you. And it's a long article, so you really have to sit down with, I don't know if you drink tea or coffee. No?
Caffeine, no.
No. Okay. You have to sit down and really read this article because it's a long one, but it is a fascinating history of the money men. Let's just say that for the last 300 years. It's the history of who runs the money on the planet for 300 years. Fascinating.
Awesome. Well, did we have a title or a topic for tonight?
No. What should we do? What do you want to do?
I was thinking about just focusing on love, since it's sort of the unmanifested intelligent infinity, as the Law of One talks about. Just try to pull in the love for whatever might be going on.
Yeah, for everybody globally and individually, maybe too.
Right.
Like maybe some of us are suffering in some way with this chronic lockdown, or I don't know. Maybe it could be
unless
for
you have
us too.
do you have a better?
No, I like it. I like
I just
it.
figure love is the answer. So right.
It is the answer. Love is the way.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Yeah, should we do love? You can never get too much of it.
No, we all need plenty of love,
We all need love.
And that's the direction we're trying to move, into the direction of love. So love or fear, we want to go to the direction of love. So.
And I see what you mean. I see what you mean. That if you have love inside you, it doesn't matter what you feel, you're going to go in the right direction. So why fear anything? If you know you're okay, you're going to go in the right direction. The right thing is going to happen, no matter what, because you've already got that core love inside.
But you can ruin the ride, and you don't want to do that either.
We don't want to ruin the ride, right?
Yeah, and it's like you were saying, it'll help things move along faster. The more intentions and feelings you put into it, and if you're in fear, you're not putting that manifesting.
Yeah, and some people, not us, usually get stuck in it. There are people who are opening their eyes for the first time who are getting stuck in that feeling because they don't realize how powerful they are and how powerful love is. You know, and it's like reaching out to those people who are newly awakened and their whole world has just disappeared, the whole paradigm. So we want to bring them into love and to feel loved. And when you feel loved, you feel safe.
Nicola is saying that she was just telling her sister yesterday about the Titanic that you were talking about.
Oh, really?
Neat.
Were you talking about? Cool. About the people who went down on the Titanic, who were rushing back to vote to stop the Federal Reserve from being created. Oops. I mean, what timeline did the Titanic not go down on? You know?
Yeah, and I'm saying that, like, it's so funny because I see these threads of truth and just everybody's latching on to something. I mean, and it's waking them up. You know what I mean?
It's waking up so many people. I'm like, this is really cool. Does that mean this is a good thing? Does that mean the bad thing is a good thing because it's waking up so many people?
It's a catalyst. I mean, it could be a bad thing for some and a good thing for others, you know?
Oh, can I say one more thing about Trump? Because, you know, I'm always on the fence. I just do not like politicians. Left, right, they're all the same, right? I'm not pro politicians at all, whether they're whatever party, it doesn't matter. They're always like, you know, don't trust it. Trump just stopped funding the World Health Organization. And everybody thinks, oh, that's a terrible thing. No, it is a great thing because the World Health Organization has an agenda.
Oh, yeah, and now, they dropped the ball, too.
Yeah, and now the biggest funder of the World Health Organization is Bill Gates.
Right.
Over any country in the world, he gives them more money. Yeah. So the fact that he did that, I'm like, these are starting to look like really good guy moves, you know?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, he's still got to play the game. He's got an election coming up. He can't go too rogue away from his party. You know what I mean? So there were some things people were talking about that were sort of partisan. I'm like, he's still got to.
He's still playing that.
He's got his base. He can't tick his base off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's got to play the game. I think he's playing it pretty good. I mean, you know, at this point, whether he's good or bad, I think he seems to be, you know, playing it a little bit deeper than it appears to be in the front. People
I
think
was
he's a
so
stupid guy, but
impressed.
he's not one of the richest guys. You know, what they like a mogul or whatever they call it, you know, from being stupid. You know what I mean? So he's like approaching this like more from a business aspect. So
And
I
he's
don't know.
got such a
I'm
CIA
hopeful.
family. He is such a government CIA NSA family. His uncle, his father, his grandfather have always been in,
Hmm.
you know. So that always led me to feel less trust. But I'm like, those two moves were so big and so bold and so good for us. For they were good for independence. They were good for freedom.
Right.
So I'm like confused, really politically confused. I'm just going to sit back, get back on that fence and just watch it all play out, you know?
Did you see the clip where you could see Trump in the background say something like, "We should have told us" or something to some guy saying, uh, "We're in the middle of a live exercise," talking about the whole thing
Yes,
going on.
I did. Pompaneo. Am I saying his name right? Somebody sent me the
Pompeo.
video and he goes, we're in the middle of an exercise. And they thought that meant, right? That
And
meant that this is an exercise, what we're all experiencing here.
right. And I don't know, why did Trump say that though? Well, you should have told us. What was
What
that
about the
about?
hot mic? What about the hot mic that you sent me and somebody else sent me, right? Didn't the hot mic also indicate, hey guys, wink, wink, wink,
Right. You
wink?
can take that mask off, and the numbers aren't as bad as.
Yeah, exactly. And that got out everywhere. And that was definitely done in the official room because I checked every inch of the room against real video of him in that room where they give the daily briefings. That was recorded in the room. But was it meant to be slipped out to people? Like, hey guys, wink, wink. We're all going to,
Well, they said he was joking. Isn't that the official thing they said about it?
Yeah, but I think they said he was joking about other things too. So,
What else are you gonna
um,
say when you get caught
about
red-handed?
taking
We were
Clorox or
joking.
something in a vaccine or drinking it or something. He's
Right.
like, "Oh my God, I was only kidding." And I'm like, I miss that. I don't watch news. I don't sit there and watch any of this unless people send me clips. And they
I've
always
tuned
send
into
me,
a few of the live broadcasts and just caught things live, but just to see. But it's usually pretty boring. So
yeah, I don't watch that stuff either until I get the really interesting, juicy little clips from people. But this is the time. This is the time of change. And we gotta pick, maybe people want to stay here and stay in a dualistic world that's always interesting and fascinating and challenging, or maybe people want to move up to that next level where there's more peace and more ease and more compassion, less drama. You got to kind of pick, which way you want to go,
right.
and for some, this might be the perfect environment for them to always be challenged in a challenging environment to keep that peace and love going.
And I think that's what a huge catalyst like this does. It pushes people one way or the other, more
Yeah.
negative, more positive.
So have
'Cause
you decided which way you're going? You're going New Earth for sure. You're
I'm
going into
definitely
the world of
going.
ease and peace and love, compassion, cooperation.
I am, but I don't think it's going to be like the
There's
pearly
not going to be
gates, streets of
no.
gold. No, no challenges. I think it's just
I
going to be
don't
a
think so.
different. It's going to be a different classroom. You
Yeah,
know,
I think there's still going to be challenges in that classroom,
it
don't
wouldn't be
you?
very fun if it's just like, hey, we made it. Let's go sit on the beach for eternity. Come on, we're going to want to do something, right?
And see, for a lot of people in our community, this is where they heal people. This is where they teach people. This is where they have a job to do. So when push comes to shove, they might go for another round in this level of dualistic earth just so they can keep teaching and keep healing and keep that part of themselves going. They might not be ready for a kind of retirement by moving up a level, by
Hmm.
stepping up a level where you really don't have anything to teach because everybody around you is at your level. You don't really have anybody to heal because everybody around you is healthy.
Right.
So I know a lot of people are desperate for that. They're desperate to get to that level so they can just go, phew, I'm done.
Right.
I can just sit back and enjoy it now. But there's other people in our community who'd be like, nope, I'm going back down. I want to do some more work.
I just like to move out of the suffering. You know what I mean? Just I don't mind the challenges, you know, but I don't like living on a planet where there's people starving and,
Me
you know, there's some
too.
basic stuff that just needs to be fixed. You know what I mean?
Basic
It's just really basic stuff that
water
we
for
don't need to
everybody.
move forward until we can handle that stuff because it's like, oh my gosh, this should have been handled already. You know what I mean?
That should have been taken care of centuries ago. We had the technology and the information to feed the planet.
And I think, you know, if some of these technologies come out and then we've seen the improvement with the ozone from everybody staying home and everything, I mean, we're seeing the earth is already healing itself. So many people are planting stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're like planting new earth right now, right? All these people are planting their own little food gardens at their house. And
Yes. In so many ways, this has kicked off New Earth in a huge way. It's given it a real oomph, hasn't it?
yeah.
Definitely. Except I'm not really keen on the social distancing, don't hug anybody. Because, our community is so huggy, hug, love. We're not really into the don't get near a human, you might die.
yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do love. And we'll
Yeah.
see what comes out because it's usually for global healing. We always cover Earth, but sometimes we also cover ourselves and help ourselves.
Right.
So we'll just do love, all aspects of love, and see what pops out.
Yeah. Receiving as well as giving, you know?
Absolutely. It's not really healthy to be on either end of that spectrum,
Yeah.
to be always the one giving or always the one receiving. Not a really healthy place to be. You want to be in the middle.
And maybe even speak to people I know. Like I've got family members that they're just not very loving people, and you know, you give them a hug and it's kind of stiff and cold. They don't even know how to give a good hug, and it's like, come on, just feel a
You're
little
such
bit.
a
So,
huggy person. You're a big huggy bear and so loving. And I can't imagine you in a family like that going, "Oh, get off." You
well, my
know?
mom taught me, you know, from the time I was little. She's now get back here and give me a good hug. You know, I want to feel it. You know, and so,
Oh, how
so
awesome is that?
I have my mom to thank for the good hug. So,
Awesome. That is wonderful. Okay, so I will just disappear here on the visuals.
alrighty.
Okay. I don't think I need a drink of water, so I won't turn the microphone off. But get really, really comfortable, guys. Just kind of like scooch down and like really kind of relax into whatever's supporting you, a chair, a bed, whatever. Just relax into it. And as you take a deep breath in and you feel that oxygen filling up your lungs, beautiful, clear, clean oxygen. And as you exhale it out, just let go of any tension in your face or your neck or your head. And then when you're ready, take a nice, relaxing, deep breath in. And as you let it go ahead and relax your shoulders and your torso and your tummy. And then take a nice, relaxing, deep breath in. Really fill up the bottom of your lungs. Let your tummy expand. And as you exhale it, go ahead and relax your bottom, your upper legs, your knees, your lower legs, your feet. And don't forget to relax your arms and your hands. And now we're just going to do the heart mass breathing. We're going to take a nice, gentle breath in through our heart center and just let it go out. Really easy. And continue to breathe in through your heart and just continue to exhale through your heart. Do it at a pace that's really, really comfortable. And now, if you like, you can start to breathe in through your heart and take in a beautiful, clear, crystalline color on the in-breath. Any color that you wish tonight, right here or today, wherever you are on the world. Any color in the moment will correspond with a chakra that needs that energy in the moment, here, now. And you can also exhale that color back out into your home environment and just let it circulate around you and your loved ones. And breathe in and allow that color to permeate past your body and to actually surround you like a beautiful, healing, comforting, safe cocoon, a cocoon of light, and exhale it back out. Go ahead and send down a grounding cord from your root chakra at the base of your spine. A lot of people like a gold cord or a silver cord, but you can do any color that you like. Send it down through all the layers of the earth now. Let it reach the core, the heart of the earth, and there it spreads out in all directions. Now we're going to visually, etherically hold hands, and we're going to imagine being in a beautiful, safe, quiet, harmonious, really restful place in nature. What part of nature do you want to be in tonight and today? Is it sunny, or is it evening, or is it nighttime? Is there a beautiful shimmering moon? Are you in a desert environment with the dry air and the stars sparkling? Are you in a seaside environment with that gentle lapping of the sea coming to shore? Are you in a mountain environment, or a meadow, or a forest, or a cave? Think of any part of nature. You can make it up, or you can actually imagine someplace you've really been and just be in that space now with nature, feeling restful, feeling peaceful, feeling relaxed, and feeling safe. And now we're going to imagine together, we're just going to see love. Do you see a color? Do you see a child's face? Do you see somebody that you love when you see love? And now we're just going to hear love. What does love sound like? Is it a sound from nature? Is it an animal? Is it birds? Is it your child's voice? Is it your loved one? Is it your pet? Is it your own internal thoughts, that voice that belongs completely, entirely to you and is always inside of you, guiding you, comforting you? Is that the sound of love? And now we're just going to allow ourselves to feel love. What does that feel like for you? Is it warm? Is it like sunshine? Is it soft? Is it like a hug from somebody that you love? Is it cool, like moonlight and starlight? Is it energizing? What does love feel like? And now we're going to take those sights and sounds and feelings of love, and we're going to bathe ourselves from the top of our head to the tip of our toes, down our neck, down our arms, into our hands, out of our fingers, down our torso, down our legs, into our feet, and out of our toes. We're going to bathe ourselves in love and allow ourselves to really feel and experience complete love. And if you like, you can now extend that feeling of love to your entire home environment, to all people who ever come into it, to all animals. And you can extend that love into your community. Maybe it's just your street, or maybe it's your whole town. And now you can extend that love, if you wish, to your entire country, to all people, all animals, all vegetation, all minerals in your country. And now, if you feel like it, if you want to, you can extend that love, that feeling of love, to the entire earth, whether it's round or square or flat, triangular, a dome, an eye. However you see earth, what does it feel like when you extend your love to the entire earth? But you see, earth is not just a taker, earth is a giver. And suddenly, when you're extending your love to earth, earth extends her love to you. It's a two-way system of communication, and you are being filled with the life-giving energy of earth love. Allow yourself to receive that. Let it come up through your toes now into your feet. Let it go up your legs into your torso. And at the same time as it's going up into your neck, it's coming into your fingers, into your palms, up your arms. Now it's going up your neck, into your head, filling your body with earth love. And that feels so comforting and so balancing. It's also healing and energizing. It's also clearing and balancing. Just allow yourself to accept that love that comes from earth in every single moment that you are on earth. And know that it's a two-way exchange. You're not just taking, you're also giving. Earth is not just taking from you, earth is also giving. You're giving and taking at the exact same moment in complete and utter balance and symbiosis, harmony, peace. We'll go silent now for 3 minutes as you continue to receive love from earth and give your love to earth. So now, as you start to come back, know that your connection to Earth is permanent. It is always there for you. And if you ever need it, all you need to do is just take a few deep, cleansing, relaxing breaths in and know that you are immediately connected to the source of Earth love, Earth energy. And start to kind of wiggle your toes, move your feet around. How about your shoulders? Go ahead and move your neck and open your eyes. There you are. So that was a little bit strange for me tonight. We've been doing this for 2 years, and this time I went so far away that I almost had difficulty using my voice box. I don't know if you noticed, but it became difficult to actually speak because my voice and my throat were so very far away. So,
you mean like peaceful or?
yeah, in a good way, but in a very strange way too, that it was difficult to speak. So I don't know if you guys went really far away from your body.
Now that's interesting that you said that though, because I gotta laugh because sometimes I get complete whack job messages that I can't really share with anybody, but I can share it with you guys because you guys will get it, without sounding too crazy. So the other day I'm like putting my shoes on and I notice my sole is separating from my shoe and I'm like, oh, they're not that old. Why is the sole coming off? You know what I mean? And then I hear everything happens for a reason. I'm like, my sole's loosening on my shoe. How can there be a message in that? This is all going on in my head. You know what I mean? The sole is loosening. And then I immediately got a picture of Albert Taylor in his book Soul Traveler. And the message is, our soul is loosening. So that's so funny that you just said that. You felt like you went further away from your body. It was sort of the message to, like, for me, because I kind of died away from trying to do out-of-body stuff as much. Because, you kind of, after you don't get much success, you just tend to just move on to other things or whatever, I'm always trying, like during meditation or when I'm falling asleep or if I have a lucid dream or anything like that. I'm trying always, that's like my default position. But it's going to get easier. That was the message. Our souls are loosening. We're going to be able to play a little bit more, I think, in the out-of-body state.
That's exactly how I felt. I felt separate from my body. And
crazy message from my shoe getting destroyed. Worn out.
Do you ever feel far away from your little body when you're doing these meditations?
I do when I'm doing my own meditations. I guess I have to kind of stay more aware here, But, oh yeah, I definitely,
Well, next week, since you said about astral traveling, if you don't mind, could we do a meditation next week that will push people out of their bodies? I have an astral traveling meditation. And it's really cool. You got to be brave enough and in a nice place where it doesn't matter if you kind of extend outside of your body and you're still okay because you're on your sofa and nobody's going to come barging through the room and shout at you and like suck you back in really fast, which is still okay. But yeah.
Right. It's not they can scare you and permanently separate you or anything like that.
Can't do anything bad at all. It's not going to make you go too far, but it will hopefully allow you to go further.
Yeah, I'm down.
Maybe normal meditations do. And that's kind of what happened to me tonight. I didn't expect it. I didn't plan on it, but I literally projected outside of my body and then it got really hard to use my voice. I don't know if you could hear that. Did the voice sound quieter?
It didn't get my attention or anything. It did sound quiet and peaceful, I thought, but
it was a real struggle to speak.
You didn't sound like you were struggling to me at all. But nothing caught my attention. Now that I know, I might be able to tell. But
I'm going to listen back, and I'm going to see if I can hear my voice like having difficulty talking, like straining to talk.
That's awesome. Yeah, everybody's down for the Marcy. Marcy, is that you from East City?
Hey, Marcy, I didn't know you're going to. Yeah. No, no,
Is that
actually, you did say you're going to see me later. It
what?
was Rita who said that she couldn't come tonight. Yep. Yep. Because we were all chit chatting.
Okay.
Yeah, that is Marcy from ECETI. Marcy and Donna.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah,
Really,
so
Marcy.
everybody's down for the out of body astral
Oh, she's
travel
down
and
for the astral travel. Okay. It'll be a short one. I mean, it'll be a long one, but it'll be a short travel. You're not going to go very far because first you got to kind of like get out and explore the room that you're in, explore the building, and then just go above the building. Okay. Instead of going out of your body and shooting off into another universe, because that freaks people out when they don't recognize where they are.
maybe
So,
we can build up to meeting at like I don't know the King's Chamber or the Great Pyramid or something at some
oh
point.
my
We get good at
God.
this.
Yes.
It'd be cool.
We can actually do that. We can do that easy. But
Go.
you have to get out of your room. First you have to once you get out of your body, you got to get out of your room, you got to get out of your house. And then if you're like, "Okay, are you ready to travel? Do you want to travel?"
It's like a bunch of light workers cutting class and going and running around the halls of a mentee.
Exactly. And actually your body is just not even sleeping, your body is just resting. It's just like meditating. It's just breathing and being all peaceful and calm while your consciousness is just going somewhere else, but your body's totally safe.
Yeah.
And then if anybody did walk in the door and slammed a door, you would just instantly be sucked back into your body so quick.
Right. That's the whole silver cord or whatever, right?
That's the silver cord. And that's the cord that during not a near death experience, because in a near death experience, your cord is attached, but somebody might be in a coma. So their consciousness is out of the body, but their life cord's attached. The death experience is when that cord is severed or cut and the body's flatlined. And now your consciousness is completely set free and completely separate from the body. And they don't call that. They call both of them near death experience. But one is a near death where your consciousness is gone, but your body's being kept alive. And the other one is a death experience where your body is just dead and your consciousness is just hanging around going, "You going to get that body working again? How long should I
You're all
hang here?"
tying your silver cord in a knot and trying to, come on, I'm trying to help.
Lasso, tying your silver
Right.
cord into a lasso going, "Come on, get back in that body."
There's no telling what's going on behind the scenes, huh?
But you see, nobody in literature has made that distinction yet. But a couple of us who have flatline have said we can feel the difference when reading about near death experiences where people were in a coma or unconscious and like dying, but they never actually completely died. And it's a slightly different feeling than when that cord is cut. That is different. We're not going to experience that when we astral travel. We will not experience the cut cord at all. The cord will always be there.
I've never noticed the cord, but never looked back either. So
Yeah, nobody wants to look back. It's like you can't even see the cord, you can feel it. You know, when we send our grounding cords down into the center of Earth, we're basically creating that vision of seeing it. It's not something to see, it's something you feel.
right.
Have you ever noticed that? Like, do you pick a certain color and change it every week, or do you always have one color to send down when you ground yourself to Earth? Do you do one color or do you do many?
Hmm. I usually do gold.
Interesting. I usually
Yeah.
do silver.
Hmm.
So we usually have like a favorite color. And when you astral project, it's usually gold or silver as well. It's like never
It's like
red.
gold and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Same colors for your astral
Like
cord.
a warm kind of a yeah.
Mhm.
But I'll typically do that or green or purple or rainbow iridescent sort of try to just bring all the colors in there. You know.
Yeah, whenever I breathe in a color to fill my body, it's whatever the moment says, whatever chakra needs the most energy, that's the color I'll go with. But it's usually a green
Yeah.
because that's so healing to all the energy centers.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll do that with the third eye because you know you get those blobs of colors when you close your
Yep.
eyes, and I'll go with whatever color I see because
Yep.
a lot of times it's green
It
or
is. It's green.
purple.
And when you
Yeah,
close your eyes, you usually see green or purple.
yeah.
But occasionally when I'm meditating, I can see blue and yellow and orange. I rarely see red, but red is a really good color to work with as well. It's very nourishing to the
Hmm.
body.
So I've been seeing, like, I never used to see orange or red orbs before. It would always be like white or off-white or maybe blue or really beautiful blue, like a deep blue. I've had some that were more almost purpley blue. But the red ones are very rare. I've probably seen less than 5 of them now. But
have you seen them? Because I don't see red ones.
Right, yeah, they've ramped up probably the last 2 months. I've seen 5 maybe now. Yeah,
That's
and I
really cool.
never saw them before.
So for my next orb videos, which will be whenever they want to be, I'm going to try to call in red orbs because I've never seen one in my life. I'm always capturing, the closest thing to it was that pink one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have no orange ones, and I have very few green ones. They're always blue or purple or white.
Right.
So it'd be cool to get some red orbs and orange orbs. I love orange. Love the color.
Some of the blue ones too are awesome. Kind of like the one we played from Gene that was so blue. Dolly's had a few that were really blue. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so blue.
Blue ones.
Yeah, I love those.
Mine are usually white, and I had that one pink one that was just like a pink fluff ball. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's in today's video too. I put it in there because I've only seen the pink orb once, and it was so pink, like cotton candy, you know?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I still want to get one of those plasma things. So I'm going to go on Amazon and try to treat myself to a plasma ball.
Well, I think my daughter got this one at like a garage sale or flea market. It's really old. You got to let me have it. And I ended up, she either gave it to me or I gave her a few bucks.
And it's a wooden Buddha, right? And it's tummy. It's fat Buddha, which
it looks like wood, and it's actually plastic, but yeah.
It looks like wood. Now that's fat Buddha. And if you rub his fat tummy, it's supposed to bring you happiness and good luck. So rub that fat tummy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with your finger. Go ahead. Rub it. There you go. Happy Buddha. We learned that when we were in like Thailand and Indonesia. And we're like, why is there a skinny Buddha and a fat Buddha? And they're like, the fat Buddha is the happy Buddha. We're like, okay. They're like, rub his tummy. I'm like, okay.
That's funny. I always wanted a plasma ball, so when she showed up with the Buddha holding a plasma ball, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too cool. Because I've never had a Buddha or anything like that. So it's cool.
I like the 3 of them together. What's that green thing? Is that a green orb? Is that a piece of glass? That green thing?
Oh, you can actually see that? This is a crystal ball my daughter got me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's not really that cool. I mean, sorry.
I can see a fan in there. You've got a fan on because I can see a fan turning in it.
Yeah,
you can see the whole room in that crystal ball. That's super cool. And the green is the green in it?
Let me actually.
Or is it picking up the green from the green screen?
It's a green. I'm trying to figure out how you turn off the. Let's see. Filters. Sorry, I can turn it off and then.
What's that?
Okay.
We're going late tonight.
There we go.
Our long ones.
It doesn't look any different to you, does it?
It looks green to me. Is it green?
Yeah, it's really green. I thought you were seeing it the way everybody else was seeing it.
How's everybody else seeing it?
It was the green screen was making it like look weird. So.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
That's funny. Awesome. All right.
I just cool how it picked up the whole room. It's like boom! I can see the fan in there. I can see the
wall.
Well,
it's actually making it where you can see my background, animated background through it. It's really weird. You can see the fan a little bit at the top.
I can see bits in there that I cannot see through the screen. It's like picking up the whole room.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this was a long one tonight, guys.
And make up a little bit for last week. So.
Yeah, that's right. We did a double tonight. There we go. Double shift.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be back next week for sure.
Yep, and we will definitely do an astral projection meditation.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, cool.
Looking forward to it. Lots of love and light and unity to all of you guys. Thank you so much for a wonderful meditation, Eileen. We'll see
Thanks,
you guys.
Love y'all. Thanks, Shane.
Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, Access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.